Hey, so I wanted to show off one of my favorite games. It's a World War II style plane and tank simulator called War Thunder. I've been playing this game for a while, probably 4 years. I think it's been out for about maybe 5 or 6 years, but they've really done some amazing things with this game. It is probably the most realistic aircraft slash tank fighter game that I've ever played, as far as comes down to the nitty gritty details. The aircrafts are exact scale models in game of the real world aircrafts from World War One, end of World War One ish to World War Two, all the way through the end of it, and they are as detailed down to how durable the aircrafts are, what speeds they can handle, to where exactly the crew members are sitting inside the aircraft, and flight controls, everything else. So the basic game, this is arcade, arcade battles, and there's tank arcade battles that are extremely unique. They work really well with the keyboard mouse, so for your everyday basic game player can play these types of games. And if you were to jump into the more realistic style battles or simulator battles, it jumps more into actually having a full flight or tank style simulator. So it gives the game a much more realistic feeling, and definitely makes it much harder and more interesting to play. But I'm going to show off a little bit of the game from the basic standpoint. So first off, the game is free, and these are some of the aircraft that I currently own from the very basic aircraft that I have. The very first level stuff you kind of get, but the game is free. I've put in some investment into it because I thought the game deserved a little bit of revenue for the entertainment that it did give me. Seriously, like hundreds of hours. But I wanted to show off a little bit of how it plays and exactly what it's all about for those who have never played it before. So hopefully this can go pretty quick and smooth and get a few people interested in actually playing this game. So here's a basic tutorial of the different goals within the missions, and there are tutorials for the game, so if you don't understand it immediately or have never played on mouse and keyboard, you can definitely learn before you play. But as you can see, this is a very simple objective: destroy the enemy resources and or kill some of the other enemy fighters and try and conquer this area. So as you can see, it's actually really unique in its style. I can actually change the different viewpoints of which I'm playing at. So I like a third person, but if you're playing the simulator, you'd actually be in this position. So you'd play the game as if you're actually sitting in the pilot seat. This again is a fighter. It's a P-36G, I think. I think it's a naval fighter. It's something similar to the naval fighters, but it's a very nice, fast, early built kind of aircraft. And as you can see, you can kind of get some warning indicators for over-Gs, which happens to real pilots. That's kind of unique. That's not part of really many 2 games at all. So your pilots that are inside the aircraft can actually black out, which is very cool. You can control the flaps, the landing gears. That's exactly what I'm going to end up doing, because there's somebody below me, and I want to get him. There we go. And now I'm in a combat style mood. It actually gives me kind of an assist to where to aim to where he is moving, so I can actually target him pretty well. In the realistic, it's all about you. It's all about trying to aim. So he's going to actually hit the ground, and I'm going to get a kill. Aircraft destroyed. Perfect. And I ended up helping out ground units. And this guy came up without even realizing I was here. So, oh my god, I almost took out my own guy. As you can see in the bottom left corner of the screen, you can actually see the amount of damage that's happened to my aircraft. And I destroyed another aircraft. So, you can see the damage that's occurred, and it actually affects how the aircraft handles. So, you can see on the right wing of my aircraft that the wing is kind of damaged. It looks like it's taken a few bullets, and because of the friendly that I almost hit, I ended up getting a few pieces of myself damaged. But if you pay attention, you can actually see that so this is a little tactic to help kind of maneuver away from the enemies when they are attacking you from the rear. I slowed down my engine speed and opened up my flaps, so I'm in a more maneuverable state, which is really nice. Makes it very easy to turn in these small spaces and kind of catch the enemy by surprise. But it seems that I am still going to... I'm not going to die. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm getting pretty close. You can see my engine damage is starting to get in the red. I have to kind of maneuver a little bit. And it looks like I'm taking some heavy damage here. So I'm actually going to retract my flaps. I have to now compensate for the damage that is on my aircraft. But as you can see, I'm kind of making some pretty okay progress away from the enemy. Not really. But there will be a point where I'm probably going to die. So I'm going to try and take out this guy. And I did. While I'm severely damaged. Oh, there we go. So... now you can see my aircraft is pretty damaged, my engine's dead, and I am crashing. Boom! So that was actually pretty impressive for me. I haven't played this game in a while, and I just wanted to show it off. Really fun game. Now I'm going to give you a chance to see kind of the bomber perspective. This one's, I guess, a little bit not as intense. It can be. It definitely can. But as you can see, I have... actually, I'm trying to figure out how I remember how to do this. But I can actually go around and be various components of my ship, or my aircraft. So right now, I'm actually what they call gunner perspective. So you can see the little targeter on the screen, and that is actually controlling the gunner on the back side over here. It's kind of hard to see. I can, as I move perspectives, it controls the gunner from the front, and as I move to the right side of the aircraft, it controls the gunner from the right side. And I believe there's one on the belly too, so if I'm pointing down, I can actually use a gunner there. Actually, no, I cannot. It turns black, so I don't have a gunner on the bottom of my ship. But unlike the fighters, I have a bomber's perspective. So this is actually what you use to drop bombs. And if you've never seen footage of a bomber dropping bombs, they actually sit there and stare out of a kind of a telescope device that this shows, and they have to kind of estimate where the bomb or when the bomb will land with how fast they're going. So the bomb will hit that specific location that I'm aimed at, the white crosshair, but it's how long it takes. So if the target's moving, I have to be able to correctly calculate for where that's going to hit, or when it's going to hit. I have to predict exactly where the enemy will be when that bomb finally hits the ground. So it makes it a little bit more tricky, but I love these. Usually by the time I run out of bombs and stuff, this fighter is kind of dumb, because he's just going to take it out by my gunners. I could probably just go higher if I wanted to. That's also a unique benefit of bombers. They obviously a high altitude aircraft, so I can climb much higher than fighters typically do. But as you can see on my top right, there's two guys actually. Uh-oh, this ain't good. So he's still chasing me. So I'm actually gonna be a little unique in this because I love my fighters or my bombers. So I'm actually gonna drop pretty quick since the bomber has a lot more weight to it. I'm gonna drop, and as you can see my little bomb targeter too. It's a secondary, kind of like a little help when you're not using the indicator. to drop bombs. But I'm actually going to go towards his base and drop my payload. So, but I love this bomber because it can take quite a lot of hits. It's a naval bomber. It's called the Cantina, and it packs pretty good wallop when it's been upgraded. And what's really unique about the upgrades is that they are true to wartime upgrades. So this aircraft had some certain capabilities when it was first built, and as it went through the motions of upgrades and the years, it got natural upgrades. Stuff that was oh, and my pilot was taken out. So but upgrades were made through the years to improve upon its endurance, its engine speed, aerodynamics, the bomb loads that it could hold, things like that. And those were just, that's what the upgrades are in the game. You're actually upgrading, making normal upgrades that historically was part of the aircraft, which is very cool. It's not like a typical game where it just adds more armor or more damage to your stuff. It's actually, this is what was provided in the war, and it will help you out in certain ways. So this is my other naval fighter. It's a little bit shorter. I forget the name of it, actually. I think it's called the Buffalo. I forget the model. But this one's also very unique. Every aircraft has its own advantages, disadvantages, but this is the only one that I've seen of this color, so I like to think it's a little unique. But as you can tell, this version of the game, the arcade, doesn't have quite a lot of effect with the wind speeds and everything, but once you get into more of the realistic style game play, the wind speed actually affects how your aircraft controls. So things like gusts and storms and rain, everything affects exactly how your aircraft flies. It makes it a bit more difficult. And just, well, sorry, I'm just trying to concentrate. This guy is not cool. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, he's flying above me. So I'm in a fighter style mode again. I have my flaps deployed, so it allows for a higher maneuverability. 2 enemy fighters just decided to drop by. If I do this right, I should be able to still predict where he's going to be, but it doesn't look like it, so I'm actually going to turn around. But what some people will do is they'll ram right into you. Oh, he shot me down anyway, so. But that's the end of this little tutorial. I hope you guys had a lot of fun enjoying it. I know the first aircraft was a lot more fun than the last few. I didn't get exactly lucky. But I just wanted to kind of debut exactly the kind of video games that I have. If anyone else is interested in seeing a bit more, then I will definitely post a bit more. Thank you very much.